Yo, sometimes life calls for a change. Not fake, just different. It'll show you a different way. And right now, I'm on to my different way. I can promise you this is the same Spann, but the reporting is over. I'd like to welcome you to the Mr. Spann official podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Spann official podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 21 of the show. And yo, man, it's been a week since the last time I talked to y'all, man. There's been some shit going on in like pop culture. There's been some shit going on politics-wise, and we're going to talk a little bit about all of that little stuff there, man. But of course, before we do that, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with us over here at the Mr. Spann official podcast and let your voice be heard, man. So you can go ahead and hit us up at our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. This area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages, and of course, those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. And if you're watching us here live as we doing the show, man, chop it up with your man Spann as we do the show, man. Hit that hotline up. Area code 313-288-0485, and you can chop it up with us while we're doing the damn show, man. Get down with us like that, right? Real talk, real talk. Also, hit us up in our email at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails, and of course, those emails we'll get read here and reply to here live on the show as well. Follow me on Threads and Instagram, both Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. I am still on Twitter, barely though. Right, barely on there, man. I've been really diving into the Threads thing, man, and I'm liking it over there. Not enough. It's you know, it's nice over there, man, and I think y'all should join me over there. It's nice over there. Real talk. So, yeah, Threads and Instagram though at Mr._Spann, man. Real talk. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Spotify. Right, leave us those 5-star reviews. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know while you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann official podcast and the Spann Report podcast network in its entirety, right? Also, go to our website at www.thespannreport.com. You can go there, watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And of course, we really do appreciate every dime over here at the Spann Report podcast network, man. Real talk. Also, check us out on Facebook and YouTube, man, because we do this show here live on both Facebook and YouTube. So you can leave us comments on both Facebook and YouTube, and we will read those comments as we do the show. And of course, if I get the comments later, then we'll catch up on the next show that we do. We'll get that feedback in that way, man. Real talk. But there's a plethora of different ways for you to get in touch with us here at the Mr. Spann official podcast, and we appreciate everybody who goes about the minutes of doing that, man. It's a conversation, man. It's not a monologue. I mean, oftentimes it's really just me talking and shit. But yeah, man, we want this to be a conversation. So go ahead and hit us up on all of those different ways and get your voice heard, man. Real talk. Be a part of the conversation, man. Real talk. But yeah, man, it's been kind of chill. Been kind of chill over here for your man Spann, man. I like to extend another birthday wish to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law just celebrated a birthday, man, and so happy birthday to her yet again, man. We celebrated her birthday Thursday, man, and I think Halloween is tomorrow, y'all. Like, Halloween is tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to any Halloween parties or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure some of y'all might be getting down or have gotten down with some of these Halloween parties, man. And y'all didn't send an invite to your boy, man. Did none of you niggas send an invite to your boy?
Oh, yeah. There's powerful niggardry at work here.
I'm saying, man, like, the nerve of you niggas, and not even like just, let's see what this nigga Spann up to so we can get this nigga up in here, man. Like, our real talk was gonna go, like, I was gonna show up, like, to a birthday party or, like, a Halloween party as, like, my granddaddy and shit. Like, I even, like, reached out to my aunt or whatever because he had, like, this, what was it? It was this one song he had called like Your Love Is Rated X or whatever, and he had this fly ass 1970s get up or whatever. I was gonna really grow my mustache out, rock that shit, man. But why, nigga? Didn't nobody say, yo, Spann, you want to come to the Halloween party, my nigga? Like nobody said nothing, dog. I thought you niggas loved me. I did, man. I thought you niggas loved me, but apparently not. Apparently not. You niggas don't give me shit, man. I know I work a lot, but still, man, like you supposed to give a nigga like the opportunity to say no. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't just like leave a nigga out there hanging like, well, shit, man, we didn't think he was coming. Nah, man, give a nigga the opportunity to say no. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I would like to come, but I can't. Right? Let me say that. Don't just assume that for your boy. You know what I'm saying? I would like to come to a Halloween party and shit, partake of the libations, partake in the costumes and shit. I'm a fun nigga sometime. Right? Yeah, man, real talk. But yeah. Hopefully, man, you guys really did enjoy your weekend, man. It's about time to get back into the work week and whatnot. And yeah, man. Ain't nobody looking forward to that. Right? Real talk. But so we got a few different things we're gonna talk about tonight, right? But we got an overarching theme for some of the stuff that's going on, man. Real talk. And I feel as though we're in a time now where I just feel like we know way too much about celebrities and shit, right? And so that's why I titled this night's show, We Know Too Much, right? Because I feel like we know way too much about these niggas. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, man. But the first story that we're going to talk about here, man, has to do with one Jay-Z, right? So Jay-Z recently did a series of interviews with Gayle King on CBS. And, you know, I don't know. I think it's mostly an internet thing. It's mostly an internet thing, man. And it's like one of those questions with like that silly ass question that people have been asking mostly on Twitter. I haven't really seen it much anyplace else. But there's a silly ass question of, would you rather have lunch with Jay-Z or would you take $500,000? And, you know, me, nigga, it's not that hard a motherfucking question to answer for your boy, right? I'm taking the $500,000. As a matter of fact, Jay-Z himself even said, hey, nigga, take the $500,000, right? Jay-Z was like, don't be too fucking stupid, man. Like, don't take the money. Like, I mean, lunch with me is cool, but is it $500,000 cool? Probably not. Especially for like 99.99% of the population, man. It's like, yeah, take the $500,000, right? But oh no. Rick Ross had something to say about this shit. Rick Ross said, man, fuck what Hov talking about. I'm taking the lunch with Hov. And here's why he said he's going to take the lunch with Hov. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up so you guys can see this right along with your boy. And let's see what this nigga Rick Ross is talking about here.
Rose, would you take the $500,000 or the dinner with Jay-Z? I'm going to take the dinner, and I'm going to tell you why. In 2008, before I turned in my second album, I had a meeting with Hov. We went to lunch. Philippe Chow, Manhattan, the orange chicken on the stick with the peanut sauce was the vibe at the time. Let me cut through all the conversation. He said, Rose, verses writing to every beat you like, write to every record you can make work. He told me a quick story about Big Pimpin'. I said, okay, bet. So I went from writing one record to every 80 beats I like to writing 40 records out of every 80 beats I could make work. It took me to another level as a writer, another level as an artist. The amount of work I was putting out was next level. So you gotta ask yourself, are you ready to digest the knowledge, or you just wanna look at this watch at the table?
All right. So, I believe this is the reason why Jay-Z said, like, yo, take the $500,000, because I believe he believes that 90% of the motherfuckers that's going to come at him is going to be asking about the watch on his arm as opposed to asking about anything substantive, right? But the other part about it is this. First things first, nigga, I don't want to hear from nobody who's already worth millions of dollars on whether or not they were going to take the lunch with Jay-Z, whether or not they're going to take the lunch or whether or not they're going to take the $500,000. Like, I don't want to hear from nobody that's already worth millions on whether or not they're going to take the lunch. Of course, nigga, you're going to take the lunch because you don't need the $500,000. 99.99% of everybody else need that $500,000, B. Real talk. That's life-changing money for most people. So I'm really not really trying to hear from like these niggas that's already millionaires and shit. Like you got was it? I think Ray J said some silly shit about, yeah, I'm gonna take the lunch. Like, yeah, nigga, you selling them cheap ass headphones or whatever, and like I'm sure people have bought them. Like I'm sure you would take the lunch, but most people ain't taking the lunch. D. We need the bread, B. We need the motherfucking bread. And Jay-Z himself was like, yeah, take the money. That's stupid. Why would you want to take lunch with me? I already told you what, everything I said, I did. It's in the music, just buy the music. And I told you everything that I like, the whole blueprint is there. Like he said that shit already, right? Excuse me. So like, it's weird that this is even a thing that he even had in a conversation with Gayle King, that this even came up to where he even had to address it. And still you got these rich niggas getting on here talking about some, yeah, I'm taking the lunch with Hov. Of course, nigga. We know you taking the lunch with Hov, bro. And so here's the other part about this, right? So I'm there's no doubt in my mind that Jay-Z is probably very knowledgeable about a lot of different things, right? But like say for instance, I was asking Jay-Z, like I'm a pipe fitter by trade, man. Like, could I go to Jay-Z and like he's talking about, Jay-Z told him about how to rap or whatever, not even so much how to rap, but like to write to, like his process about writing and whatever else, right? Could I go to Jay-Z and ask him about how, what's the most efficient way for me to do this fuel line? And whether or not I can like, be more efficient in how I do that? Like, can I go to Jay-Z and ask him like, yo, man, what's the lower explosive level of gas, of gas in the air and the gas and oxygen mixture? Can I go to Jay-Z and ask him about that and how soon I should probably cut and cap a service or whatever else? Could I go to Jay-Z and ask him that? Is it going to be worth $500,000? Probably not. Right. So I mean, like, there's this thing, man. We just like, I get that we kind of worship folks who are not only rich, but also rich and famous. And although I don't think that, going to have a lunch with Jay-Z couldn't be impactful for someone, at the same time, the man is telling you, hey, man, it's smart to take the money. Right? Y'all was just vilifying this nigga not even a couple weeks ago, talking about he should have just give his cousin all his money or whatever, right? Like his cousin was like, yeah, man, give me $2 million and I give me 40,000. I turned into $2 million, whatever the fuck the money was, right? And y'all were just vilifying this nigga. Now he telling y'all, yeah, just take the money. I'll give you $500,000, leave me the fuck alone. And suddenly it's like, nah, man, we not listening to that, B. We want the lunch. Get the fuck out of here, man. Real talk. But we got some comments in the chat room already. We got the GS28. My man says, take the 500,000. We all knew what Jay would have said. How we looking against the Raiders tomorrow? Of course, Ross would have remembered that meal. Okay, so you got three different things going on here. Take the 500,000. How we looking against the Raiders tomorrow? I like our chances against the Raiders. I felt like early on against that. He's talking about the Lions, man. We talking about the Lions, Raiders, Monday Night Football. I like our chances against the Raiders. The Raiders aren't necessarily like a really good team. They're kind of mediocre. I think that there were a few times, man, in that Ravens game early on where I feel like the Ravens offensive line was getting away with a ton of fucking holding. But be that as it may, yeah, the Ravens did instill, like, beat them down on the Lions, man. But I think we needed that loss, right? I think we needed that loss to kind of get, the Lions' head straight, right? Because, at the same time, it's a long season. You don't want to like fly too close to the sun, man. Get some real, what's the word that I'm looking for here? Let some reality set in. You know what I'm saying? That there's also other talented fucking teams that can take it to you. And I think the Lions got that last week, and that way they don't take anything for granted going forward, right? So this week, I think we should win probably by about 6 points. I get a Lions 6 points that we're going to win against the Las Vegas Raiders, man. So, yeah, we got that going on. And and he also writes in to say, what's this here? He says, yeah, F that, I'm trying to get paid right quick. Hey, man, everybody's trying to get paid right quick. I'm not allowed to go to Jay-Z on, like, what it means to be a pipe fitter, bro. I think I got that pretty much down. As a matter of fact, if Jay-Z had, I think Jay-Z would probably be asking me some questions because I doubt very seriously if Jay-Z been out here handling the pipe wrenches, bro. Like, I doubt very seriously if Jay-Z been out here donning the gas mask and whatnot, man. Or the cement saw or any of that shit that I be doing. So, yeah, man. But the thing is, the shit that I do, ain't worth half a B. You know what I'm saying? So you got that going on, man. Appreciate you for writing in, man. Now, another story that we got here that we kind of want to talk about here. Let's see what we got on the docket here. What we got? So, yeah, here we go. Here we go. So, Monique is back in the blogosphere, so to speak, man. And the reason why Monique is in the blogosphere is for something that we've actually heard Monique talk about once before, and I'm surprised this shit is coming up again. But recently, she was on a podcast with the daughter of Bernie Mac, and she talked about why she's she talks about why she calls her husband daddy.
Ho, brother. Whoa. Now, you got too much dip on your chip.
Yeah, man. So we got this story here. This comes out of, what is this? It's hotnewhiphop.com. Yeah, one of those. And there's video here. So I'm going to pull this video up so you guys can watch right along. Let me take that one down. And let me add this video here. And let's see what Monique has to say about this here.
And a lot of black women would say, why do you call him daddy? Because he's raising me. He's raising me. My father probably stopped giving me what I needed when I was around 13 years old. So now you got a woman that's 13, and now I'm 35, and now I got a bunch of money, what we consider to be a bunch of money. Let me just be real clear about that, okay? Now I got this money. Now I'm taking care of everybody. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna make me grow up? But when we were just best friends, and when we got together, this is what he said to me. He said, when we were best friends and you were married to other men, you were not my responsibility. You were my sister, but not my responsibility. As my wife, you are my responsibility.
All right. Now, as I said before, I think we've had this discussion about why Monique calls her husband daddy a couple years ago. As a matter of fact, she showed up in the source saying exactly the same thing 3 years ago, right? Now, of course, 3 years is a long time in social media, in the social media age, man. So people probably have forgotten as to why she calls this man daddy. I'm here to say, man, whatever works for you and yours, man. Like, whatever works for you and yours. I'm not understanding why so many people feel so moved by why Monique calls her husband daddy. I think that, like, she's given us, she's given us a reason as to why, but at the same time, I don't feel as though Monique owes us or owes any of us an explanation as to why she calls this man daddy. As a matter of fact, I feel like she's kind of oversharing a little bit, right? Like, because again, this isn't the first time this has come up publicly. This is like at least the second time within the last 3 years this has come up publicly. This ain't our business, man. Real talk. I feel like over the last few weeks, man, we've been learning a lot about our celebrities, man, that, like, some of which we've been learning against our will. We know way too much about these people, and it is kind of making me long for the days when there was like an air of mystery to the people that we kind of grew up liking and idolizing and shit, right? Like, you know, there was some things that, you know, you might have heard a little bit about, you know, some rumors here, rumors there, nothing really substantiated. But it gets to a point now where with a lot of the celebrities, you know, they can kind of bypass the media by going straight through social media and letting the people know, like, yo, this is what I feel about this, is how I think about this, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, yeah, all right, cool. But I kind of wish they would stop. Right? I kind of wish they would stop. It's almost like I can remember there was a time, man, where like music wise, right? There were a lot of different music acts that I used to be able to listen to, that because I now know like what they think politically on a lot of things, and how, you know, like some of the ways that they articulate some like social issues and whatnot, it actually makes it hard for me to consume their art. right? Whereas if I didn't know this shit that they thought, like if I just like, sometimes you can glean what they think about certain things from the art. You might like, I don't know about that one. He kind of lost me on that one. But I can still get with the music or whatever. Whereas now it's like it's so explicit and it's so in your face, man, where it's like you can't escape. Like, okay, so this is what this motherfucker thinks, and it makes it hard for me. I'm not saying that it has to be for anybody else, but I'm saying it makes it hard for me to be able to consume their art when I know he got some real fucked up views on a whole lot of different shit, right? That's in much the same way like with the R. Kelly thing, man. Like, yeah, like I'm from Chicago, and growing up in Chicago, like R. Kelly's music is motherfucking ubiquitous. But then, when you grow up and you start having some morals and some principles about you to a certain degree, like, I'm not going to even put that on everybody. What I'm saying is my shit makes it where like I can't feel comfortable continuing to listen to this nigga sing about sex when I know the sex involved little girls, right? I can't listen to this shit. As a father of a young lady, I can't listen to this shit. And so that's where I am with it. Like, so even with the whole thing with Monique and the thing with her calling her husband daddy again, this really ain't our motherfucking business. I kind of wish y'all would stop asking Monique why she called this man daddy. Like that's between them two, man. That's between them two. Like I get that she feels like, I gotta, she's uplifting her man and this, that, and other. I get all of that. But this ain't got nothing. Like, we leave us out the group chat. As much as y'all was talking about, Jada Pinkett and Will Smith leaving y'all out of the group chat, I feel like this should be left out of the group chat too. I don't need to know this. Right? Real talk. I feel like she got to stop explaining to you niggas why she called her husband dad. She loves this nigga, man. She don't have to explain this shit to none of us. This is none of our fucking business. And I hope we keep like stop asking Monique why she called her husband daddy, man. Cause y'all do that for your boy. Stop asking this lady why she calls her husband daddy. She done told y'all 1,000 times. It's been in the source. It's been in hothipnotnews.com and all this. Hey, man, stop asking this lady this stuff. Real talk. Bernie Mac daughter. Don't ask her no more. Right? Real talk, man. But we got that going on now. Another story, man, that we got going on. Let me take this down. And let's see. So we got some political news going on, man. It's a lot of shit going on in the world, man. Geopolitical and whatnot. And we got some geopolitical, not even so much geopolitical, but some political corruption. Crimes. Niggas is out here criming. You know what I'm saying? Politically and shit right now. But so one of the stories that just came up though was that one of Donald Trump's lawyers and Donald Trump's former chief of staff have both turned state's evidence against Donald Trump.
Got him! Got him!
Yeah, man. So we get the story here. This comes out of, let's see. So this is video. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys so you guys can watch right along with your mans. Let's do this here. Boom. 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 All right. And let's see. So this lady here, her name is Jenna Ellis. And Jenna Ellis was a former attorney for Donald Trump. She, along with Rudy Giuliani, was going around the country touting the big lie that Donald Trump won the election, that there was massive voter fraud, and that there was that Donald Trump rightfully won the election. And she was all down for the Trump train, man. Like, she was on Twitter, like, trolling motherfuckers. I remember there was an exchange between her and Tiffany Cross a few years before Mehdi Hassan became a correspondent on MSNBC. Like, she was really, really, really big in the Trump orbit, right? She's a lawyer, and she was going before state legislatures arguing with Rudy Giuliani, along with Rudy Giuliani, that the elections had been rigged in favor of Joe Biden, right? Well, now, after Donald Trump had basically refused to like help her with her legal fees, and those legal fees were like really like the reason why I believe she's even pleading out right now. But she decided to say, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna just go ahead and plead guilty to this shit, right? So let's see what the hell she says to the court as she pleads guilty to the crimes of lying to the state officials over whether or not Donald Trump won the state of Georgia. Check this out.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to address the court. As an attorney
Here come the white woman tears.
who is also a Christian, I take my responsibilities as a lawyer very seriously, and I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election.
Uh-oh. Ah, come on. Maybe I should refresh this. Hold on. Let's see if we can refresh it. Let's see what happens.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to.
Well, I'll be a monkey's bare-ass uncle on this one. What the hell?
Challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information, especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people of Georgia. Thank you.
All right. So first things first. White woman tears. Before she said anything, let me get the waterworks going. Let me get the waterworks going because I need the sympathy, right? I need sympathy. Let's get the sympathy going. I mean, most people who've been paying attention have no sympathy for this lady whatsoever, but let's get the sympathy going. Also, she says, if I knew then what I know now, I would have not have been, representing Donald Trump in the ways that I, like you knew it was bullshit from jump. Everybody had been trying to tell you it was bullshit from jump. She was going on all of these different, like she was going on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Newsmax, News Nation, all these different like cable news networks. And I'm sure like when she would go on MSNBC, when she would go on CNN, there would be somebody who would push back on the notion that Donald Trump won this election. They would remind her that Donald Trump was losing all of these cases in all of these federal courts, even with judges that Donald Trump appointed, that this motherfucker didn't win the election. So the idea that she had no clue that this was some bullshit is bullshit, right? But now she, with this plea deal, has turned state's evidence against Donald Trump. So now one of Donald Trump's lawyers, along with, well, he's got a few lawyers that have turned on him now. So there's Sidney Powell, there's Kenneth Chesborough, there's Jenna Ellis, and then there's also his chief of staff, what's my man's name? Mark Meadows. Now Mark Meadows, that's the dude. See, you can't get to Donald Trump. Like, you cannot get to Donald Trump without getting to Mark Meadows. You got to go through Mark Meadows in order to even get to Donald Trump. Mark Meadows has signed on. He's got complete motherfucking immunity, bruh. This nigga done went out and got himself complete fucking immunity, man. Nigga! Now, not only that, all these other people have gotten sweet fucking plea deals, man. They only getting like $5,000 fines. They got like maybe a couple years of probation. They not gonna see no jail time. Yeah, they tried to overthrow the whole fucking government, but they not the big fish, right? They going after the big fish. So we'll give you a little sweetheart deal, but while we're giving you this sweetheart deal, yeah, you got to tell us every fucking thing you know about this whole little thing, right? So now you got Jenna Ellis, you got Mark Meadows, you got Kenneth Chesborough, you got the cracky lady. God damn it, I keep forgetting this damn lady's name. Shit, I done forgot this lady's name just that quick, and I just had her name on the tip of my tongue. Shit. Whatever, the cracking lady. Y'all know what I mean. Anyway, you got these 3 lawyers and his chief of staff who have already flipped on him. And this is early in the process, man. This is just one case. This is just one case, and this is the case that's coming out of Georgia with the RICO case that Fonnie Willis had pulled up, man. So, like, yo, I know that there's a lot of people who don't feel as though Donald Trump is going to face any sort of consequences for any sort of actions that he did, but I need y'all to pay attention to this shit, man. And, you know, it's important that we pay attention to this going forward into this election, because I understand that there's a lot of people who fall for a lot of the misinformation and the disinformation, man. Pay attention to what's going on, man. I really need y'all to pay attention to what's really happening in regards to this. We got another question. Yeah, Sydney Powell. That's her name. Sydney Powell. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, that's the cracking lady. She's on the cracking. But she's on the cracking and she cracking up because she's also turned state's evidence against Donald Trump, man. So yeah, man. This is wild. This is wild. And like I said, this is but one. There's a whole other story going on about some Australian billionaire who Donald Trump was talking cash shit to, just like trying to, you know, make him. How you gonna be the motherfucking president of the United States and feel like you got to make yourself more important? That you got to try to impress somebody else even more by like telling America's secrets and shit. Donald Trump is a piece of shit, man. Like, for anybody who isn't paying attention, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. And I need y'all to pay attention, because unfortunately, too many motherfuckers are out here talking about, man, we need Donald Trump back, man. You know, we need them PPP loans back, man. We know Donald Trump was giving us a stimulus and shit. Like, and this is, I'll say this. One of the things that he did, which is very motherfucking effective, is that he forced them to put his name on those checks when people were getting those incentive checks when he was president. He forced them to put that. He held up the checks until they put his name on there to make people think that the checks came from him. No, nigga, they came from the federal government, from other motherfucking taxpayers. Donald Trump did not lose a dime giving you that money, right? Those checks did not come from Donald Trump. They came from the Congress. They came from your legislatures. I really need us to take heed to these civics lessons, man. Real talk. Now, another thing that we got kind of going on right now, man. We're talking geopolitical stuff, right? Dave Chappelle. I know when you think geopolitics, you're not necessarily thinking about Dave Chappelle, but Dave Chappelle is, you know, he's in the news recently, and it has something to do with the fact that he said something about the Israel-Hamas war, right? And for whatever reason, there were some people who were going to one of his shows, and they walked out of his show because of because of some of the comments that he had made concerning the war. So we get this story here. This comes out of, wait a second, I think this comes out of CBS. All right, so yeah, let me pull this back. I gotta rewind this. There's video to this. So let me do this here. Let's exit that one, and let's add this one. Boom, boom, and let me share it. Boom, and let's see what they're talking about here.
While speaking about the ongoing war during a recent show at the TD Garden. People who attended Thursday night's show tell the Wall Street Journal Chappelle, who is Muslim, referred to what is happening in Gaza as war crimes and said students should not lose their job offers for supporting Palestinians. Some in the crowd cheered his comments, while others got up and left. WBZ and CBS.
Okay, now, here's the deal with that, right? And this kind of goes a little bit into what I was kind of talking about last week, is that there's a lot of nuance that goes into a lot of these stories, man. A lot of nuance, and I think the nuance gets lost. I think the nuance is what's tripping a lot of folks up. And, you know, we get sifted into these different silos of information, and everything is black and white when much of it is mostly gray, right? And I talked a little bit about this last week, where with what Hamas did by going into Israel and kidnapping people and beheading people and kidnapping children and kidnapping old people and kidnapping women. And those are war crimes in and of themselves, right? Those themselves are war crimes. No one in their right mind, right? No one in their right mind who has any sort of integrity about them would condone that sort of action, right? No one would. What Hamas did was wrong. What Hamas did was wrong. Also, Hamas does not represent the vast majority of the Palestinian people in that region. Let me say that again. Hamas does not represent the vast majority of the people in that region. And so the response to what happened with Hamas and what is unleashed, what Israel has unleashed on the Palestinian people for the crimes of Hamas is what is disproportionate. You have citizens who had absolutely nothing to do with what Hamas did paying the price for what Hamas did. And folks are looking at it as this pure collateral damage, which is the most inhumane shit you could ever say, right? There are people there who are being punished for something they had absolutely nothing to do with. And to a large degree, our government is complicit, and the allies that our government aligns themselves with are complicit with allowing for the Israeli government to continue to punish civilians for the actions of Hamas. Right? That's what's happening. And so here's what's interesting though. So let's rewind a little bit back to what was going on a few years ago with Dave Chappelle. Remember, I was on here a few times on this microphone talking about how Chappelle did 3 different specials talking about trans people and trans rights, this, that, and the other, and he was a TERF and all these other different things, and he was making all these different jokes, and people were saying that, hey, maybe Dave Chappelle should probably, ease up a little bit. People were like, yo, man, like, I'm off Dave Chappelle for this, that, and other. And people were like, it's just jokes, yada, yada, yada. It's just jokes, right? So I'm of the mind that a lot of the people who were like kind of like a little salty with Dave probably wasn't at this show, right? Probably wasn't at this show. But the people who weren't salty with Dave Chappelle because he wasn't talking about them at the time. He wasn't talking about them at the time. They were at these shows in Boston. And then suddenly this, now he's talking about your ass. Now he's talking about you. And now you're offended. Right? And it might not even necessarily have been a joke. Right? Because I don't even know what the context of the comments were. I don't know what the context of that was. But you were going to a Dave Chappelle show in 2023 after having heard all of these other jokes that Dave Chappelle had made against, other marginalized folks, and you were okay with those jokes. But he said this one thing about your group, and now you got to walk out. And I need people to understand that, this was the argument the entire time when it came to that Dave Chappelle transgender thing a few years ago. When it's not aimed at you, everybody tells everybody else, y'all need to just get over it. But once it becomes you, suddenly it's a bit too much. Hey, man, you done went too far. Right? Now, understand, Dave Chappelle, as a Muslim, probably feels a certain way about the Palestinian people being treated the way that they're being treated, right? As a Muslim. But that's not even to say, you could say as a Muslim, there are Christian Palestinian people. There are Muslim Palestinian people. It's not even so much about them just being Muslim. But the Palestinian people have been subjugated in that region for quite some time. For quite some time. And some of that subjugation has empowered some of those, what we would deem terrorist organizations, to fight in unorthodox ways. But at the same time, those unorthodox ways does not condone them using war crimes in order to advance the cause of their people. And I think we should really take heed to those nuances there. We really should. And oftentimes, man, I know everybody's got a lot going on in their lives and stuff, man. We're not paying. I got enough going on in my life, man. I ain't got time to be worried about those people over there. But if we're going to talk about these things, we really should try to educate ourselves on why these things are happening. Because like I said, this has been going on all of my fucking life. All I've been hearing is peace in the Middle East, or cries for peace in the Middle East. Right? And as I've gotten older, I've tried to understand, learn a bit more about why there isn't peace there. Why are they still fighting over that land there? How did that become the thing that could set off World War III, everybody keeps saying, right? So yeah, man, patriots walk out on Dave Chappelle. I know we took that from they walked out on Dave Chappelle, but it was actually some geopolitical shit going on with Dave Chappelle, right? So we got that going on. Now let's try to lighten this shit up a little bit. Jesus. But so Brian McKnight done changed his name to spite his own goddamn kids, man. Yeah, man. So hold on a second. We got some comments here. Let me see here. Okay, so Angel Hall from YouTube says, Alicia Keys or Ashanti, who is more beautiful? First things first, thank you, Angel, for writing in. Second thing, I don't know what the fuck that had to do with anything we've been talking about tonight. Oh shit! What is that? Nigga! What did that have to do with anything we've been talking about tonight? I mean, they both fine as shit, man. If I had to pick between the two, I'd probably pick Ashanti, but they both fine as hell, man. You can't make a man choose between those two. Goddamn, what's wrong with you, Angel? Come on, man. You can't do that to nobody. That's crazy. Thank you for that levity, though. Yeah, hard choice. Both are beautiful women. No shit. No shit. Man, goddamn, man. You know what? I take that back, Angel. It had absolutely nothing to do with what the fuck we were talking about, but I appreciate you because it brought some levity to this goddamn situation. I appreciate it. Go ahead, ask me another one of them silly questions. I like those. Real talk, man. Now, yeah, but we talking about Brian McKnight's trifling ass, right? Now, so Brian McKnight, man, listen. I've said this on this show plenty of times before, man. And I feel as though it bears repeating. First things first, we don't know these niggas, right? We don't know these niggas. The other part is this. Listen to these niggas' kids when they tell y'all about these niggas, right? And I said that because I have, I've talked about this on the show before because of my own unique sort of minute experience a little bit with this sort of shit, right? Whereas my dad was the son of Johnny Taylor, and my dad was a shit father, and he tried to justify a lot of his bullshit, and talk shit about my mom, the whole nine. And, you had that whole thing going on, and it culminated in me doing a YouTube video some years ago, essentially just cussing this nigga out, talking to him about the things that I wanted to talk to him over the phone, but he hung up the phone on me. Right. So the way in which I talked about this nigga was well, you're not going to ignore me. I'm just going to go on YouTube and I'm going to tell you everything I need to on YouTube, and you can't ignore it, right? And of course, many other people would say, well, like, that's fucked up what you did. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only reason you did that was because your daddy had some level of fucking fame. Like, even when I was doing those videos, people thought I was doing it because I wanted money and shit. It's like, y'all don't know these niggas. He had nothing. Right? He had nothing. Even when, well, let me, okay. So, yes, Johnny Taylor, the blues singer, is my grandfather, okay? And me and my father had a falling out some years ago because I did not know who a lot of my folks were on that side of the family. And I confronted him about the shit, right? And so, he tried to justify a lot of it by, talking about like the relationship between him and my mother and everything else. At the time that me and him were having this conversation, my mother had passed on. She had been dead for over 10 years. I'm not about to allow you to talk about my mother for any fucking length of time in any disrespectful way. It was on sight when I saw this nigga. That's what it was, right? Me and my father never got right. As a matter of fact, he passed away before there was any like chance of a reconciliation because I wasn't budging, he wasn't budging. We was both stubborn in that way, right? But at the same time, the first time I was ever in the same room with all of my brothers and sisters on his side of the family was at his funeral. That was the first time we had all been together. Was at his funeral, which is what I was like kind of like chewing his ass out about, right? So I say all that to say, when these kids come out and they start saying shit about this famous person who's their father, their parents, or whatever else, y'all probably should listen to them because it's taking it's almost as if they go to that as a last resort. We go to that as a last resort because although y'all don't know these niggas, their kids understand that y'all's perception of them could also be more important to them than their relationship with their children, right? And that's why their kids come out. So when Kirk Franklin's sons came out talking smack about him, like, I don't know, man. Might want to listen to the kid. Brian McKnight's kids come out saying shit about him. I don't know, man. Might want to listen to the kid. Because they actually know these niggas, right? We don't know these niggas. And it'd be funny to like see how quickly people like jump up to defend these celebrities that they do not know. Meanwhile, their children are being like denigrated and like downgraded because they had the audacity to say, hey man, like this relationship, this ain't what y'all believe it to be. This dude isn't who y'all believe him to be, right? And so one of the reasons why we're talking about Brian McKnight, right? Because we're talking all this shit, because we're talking about Brian McKnight. One of the reasons why we're talking about it is because Brian McKnight has recently had a new baby, right? And in having this brand new baby, he has decided that he is going to change his name legally to match that of his 9-month-old son, despite the fact that he already has a Brian McKnight Jr. Yeah, man. So we read the story here. This comes out of people.com. It says, they have videos. So wait. Let me go ahead and let them play the video. Let me pull this down and let's see what they're talking about here. Let's pull this video up so y'all can watch right along with your man Spann. All right. And let's do this here. Let's see what they're talking about here on the people.com. Pull that back.
Brian McKnight is honoring his little one with a name change. On Saturday, the 54-year-old announced that he has legally changed his name to match his son's. The announcement post also revealed his newest album cover, which features the face of his 9-month-old, as well as his son's full name, Brian Kainoa Makoa Jr. McKnight, now legally Brian Kainoa Makoa Sr., added that the album was lovingly created for his son and described it as the songs of a father to his namesake. Back in January, McKnight and his wife, Leilani Mendoza, announced the birth of their son in a joint Instagram post. This is McKnight's third child with Mendoza. He's also dad to 3 other children from previous relationships.
All right. So yeah, Brian McKnight has had a contentious relationship with his older children. He's gotten married. He has, had 3 other children, and it seems as though Brian McKnight has made the decision to like just pretty much remove himself from the lives of his older 3 children, right? And as someone, man, who didn't necessarily have the greatest relationship with their father, man, like you look at this sort of shit and you just be like, man, that's some crummy shit, nigga. Like, bro, like I get that you, I get that this relationship isn't necessarily the greatest, but to do this in such a public way, to further embarrass your kids, because I guess he felt like his kids was like stepping out of line. That's trash, bro. And here's what's interesting about this to me, right? So I kind of brought this situation up at work. Why did I do that? I don't know. But I kind of brought this situation up at work, and one of the first thing niggas came out of their mouth was, yeah, man, because they baby mamas be tripping, man.
I'll be a monkey's bare-assed uncle.
As if it was the baby mama's problem that the father was doing this to the child, right? And I gotta say, man, there's a contingent of brothers who have the belief that if there's any strife between a father and his children, especially if the father and the child's mother is not together, there's this belief that the reason why the children don't have a good relationship with their father is because the mother has somehow poisoned or tainted that relationship. Now, I'm not going to be naive. I'm not going to be disingenuous in saying that situation couldn't be possible, because it's very much possible. But at the same time, I think it does the children a disservice, especially when you have adult children, to say that like, yo, the reason why this relationship isn't what it should be is because of their mother, when, yo, these kids are old enough to have formed their own opinion on who their father is, right? And it may not have absolutely nothing to do with what the relationship between the father and the mother was. Hey, I've seen you and how you interact, not only with my mother, but with me. And I made the decision that I made the observation that like, yo, man, like this ain't it. You have been like not what you supposed to be as a father. And Brian McKnight has seemed to like, when most motherfuckers would be embarrassed to like not be seen as a good dad, Brian McKnight has kind of embraced the opposite. He's almost on some Future / 50 Cent shit where like, you know what, man, fuck these kids. As like real talk, man. Like I feel as though Brian McKnight has told his kids like, fuck them. He ain't got nothing to do with them. 50 Cent told his son the same shit. You know what I'm saying? So, at the same time, I feel as though like there's the unfortunately with a lot of brothers, there's the idea that the reason why we're not having good relationships with our children is because the mothers are not allowing for us to have a good relationship with our children. However, I don't believe that is the case for Brian McKnight, considering how his children are old enough to make those decisions for themselves as to the kind of relationship they would like with their father. And it seems as though Brian McKnight is going out of his way to be openly antagonistic towards his kids, man. Real talk. So yeah, Brian McKnight, piece of shit. Can't even listen to this shit. Again, this is one of those situations. I used to like Brian McKnight's music. Can I listen to Brian McKnight's music? Maybe. Is he gonna be like pulled up in the ride pretty soon? Probably not. Why? Because I feel like he a piece of shit. All right? I feel like he a piece of shit. So you got that going on, man. Real talk. Unfortunate. Now, again though, that's one of those things where I kind of feel like, yo, it's none of our business and we know too much about them. Oh, shit. So it's time for me to take my ass to bed. All right. So, yeah, we got one more story left. And this has to do with one NBA player, Dwight Howard. Now, Dwight Howard has been in the news as of late because apparently people, well, not even so much people. There is an allegation going on about Dwight Howard that he sexually assaulted a young man at his home, right? And so let's see, where's the story here? Let me pull up my pocket. I got a lot of tabs open. Let me close that one and that one and that one. Okay. So, but they say Dwight Howard is alleged to have sexually assaulted a young man at his home. And Dwight Howard has on record said that the sexual contact that he did have with a young man was consensual, right? And so I want to make sure that I get the exact story here. So let's see. Okay. So we get the story here. This comes out of ESPN.com. It says a former NBA star, Dwight Howard, has denied sexual assault and battery allegations filed against him earlier this year and asked the court to dismiss a civil lawsuit he is facing in Georgia. In court documents obtained by ESPN, Howard said Monday that he engaged in consensual sexual activity with a man named Stephen Harper during a July 2021 encounter at Howard's Georgia residence. Howard denied that he caused any injury to Harper, according to the filing. In the original complaint filed in July, Harper's lawyer said he and Howard first began corresponding over direct messages on Instagram in May 2021, with Harper initiating the exchange. Harper accused Howard of sexually assaulting him at Howard's home during the subsequent July 2021 encounter. We fully anticipated Mr. Howard to raise the issue of consent in his answer, Harper's attorney, Olga Ismayova, told ESPN, adding that Harper did not consent. Harper's complaint also accused Howard of intentional infliction of emotional distress and false imprisonment. Howard's response denied those allegations. What was a private consensual encounter was made public for profit, and Mr. Howard looks forward to bringing the truth to light in the court of law, one of Howard's attorneys, Justin Bailey, told ESPN. The allegations against Mr. Howard are contested. Mr. Howard intends to present the truth. The truth is Mr. Howard blocked Mr. Harper on social media and then was confronted with two options: pay to protect his reputation or have a fabricated story made public. Despite being an easy target due to the subject matter and his status as a celebrity, Mr. Howard chose to trust in the justice system and will rely on all future court filings to speak for themselves. Now, Harper's complaint includes screenshots of alleged Instagram exchanges between Harper and Howard from 2021, along with an Uber receipt of Harper's trip to Howard's residence in the night of the encounter. Harper went to the police a year after the encounter, according to a July 2022 incident report from the Gwinnett County Police Department, which was obtained by ESPN. No charges were filed. Now, one of the things that have, like, here's the thing. It's a sensationalism surrounding said story, and the reason why I say the sensationalism surrounding this story has to deal with like how people are talking about this in the media, right? I say the sensationalism of this has been kind of thick, right? So take for instance, let's see, Stephen A. Smith talked about this on his podcast. Let me pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with me. But yeah, this is how Stephen A. Smith talked about this. And I'll come back on the other side. Check this out.
You know, I have to confess to you. Some subjects are just uncomfortable for me to broach. I know that's hard to believe. But if you follow my career, I just don't get into people's personal business. You know, their personal business is their personal business. There are two exceptions
and yet here we are
that I make when it comes to something like that. The one exception that I make is when you end up in the police blotters, because that's a matter of public record and we have to cover that. The other exception is that when it goes further than that and it's in the courtroom and it's a part of court documents. And that's where we get to Dwight Howard. Because you see, it hasn't made much sense to me when I think about a guy, a Dwight Howard, a DeMarcus Cousins, by the way. DeMarcus Cousins should be in the NBA. I don't know why the hell he ain't in the NBA. I don't know 6 big men better than DeMarcus Cousins, to me. DeMarcus Cousins could play. He should be in the NBA. But that's a subject for another day. Right now, I'm talking about Dwight Howard. And when I think about Dwight Howard, I think about a dude that was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2008-09, 2009-10, when they lost to Kobe in the finals, of course, 08-09. And then, of course, 2010-2011. 3 consecutive years, he won Defensive Player of the Year award. 5 times in his career, he's led the league in rebounding. As a matter of fact, just looking at his numbers here, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. The first 14 years of Dwight Howard's career, he averaged double digits in rebounds. He was a 2-time shot blocking king in the NBA. This brother's defensive prowess is unquestionable. So much so that you've had people wondering, did Dwight Howard deserve to be left off the top 75 list?
He did not.
Ahead of Anthony Davis.
He should have been on that team.
Think about that for a second here. Think about that. You know, because I'm telling you right now, these are the kind of questions that you had. But except how Dwight Howard is in the news for the wrong reasons right now. And I'm telling you right now, it is not comfortable for me to talk about this subject.
But he gonna talk about it. He damn sure about to talk about it.
I just don't get it. I'm being careful. You may wonder why. Well, allow me to read this to you. It's from an article. And it states, NBA star Dwight Howard has denied sexually assaulting a man he met on Instagram and asked a court to dismiss the man's lawsuit. The man, his name is Stephen Harper, said he approached Howard with a direct message on Instagram. He sent his phone number, and Howard sent the text after receiving it. According to court documents obtained by RadarOnline.com,
tabloid,
the NBA legend, because let's face it, to a certain degree, he is a legend. There are levels, but he's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's an NBA champion with the Lakers. He's a 5-time rebounding champion. The brothers, you know, we ain't seen Anthony Davis pull that stuff off, even though Anthony Davis is a much better offensive player. But according to RadarOnline.com, the NBA legend admitted that he met his accuser via social media in May of 2021. Howard said he exchanged text messages with Harper between May of 2021 and July 2021. It's a 2-month span, several of which included sexually explicit content, such as photographs and videos. Lord have mercy. Hold on. Let me just pause. Oh, my goodness.
Bro, you really don't have to lay it on this thick. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you really don't have to lay it on this thick. Like, if this was an exchange between Dwight Howard and a young lady where there were sexually explicit videos exchanged or sexually explicit photographs were exchanged, I doubt very seriously that Stephen A. Smith would be so fucking verklempt in his goddamn explain and his reading of this. He's acting as though like this is physically painful for him to even have to read. Let me see. Listen, we got some chat comments here in the chat. GS20 said, "I can't believe that the media named the complainant. They typically won't do that. I wonder what's different." I'm wondering if the complainant himself decided to come out publicly. Right? Maybe that's what their situation is, where the complainant themselves decided to come out publicly. Don't really know for sure, but that's the only thing that I could think of in this particular situation, man. But let's play on though. This is rich.
The former Los Angeles Lakers star said Harper came to his home on July 19, 2021. Howard admitted that they went to his room, took off their clothes, and kissed consensually. But Harper then claims Howard surprised him by introducing him to a man dressed as a woman. Harper said the man called himself Kitty. Now, when I think about the name Kitty, I think about Donald Sterling when he had his mistress and he got caught saying about Magic Johnson, why do you have to be friends with black people? I mean, what is it? What is it about black people? Why do you have to do that?
Okay. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna stop this shit right here. I'm gonna stop it right here. And the reason why I'm gonna stop it right here is to make this point. Anytime any nigga tells you that gossip is a female thing, I want you to circle back to shit like this. To shit like this. This nigga is reveling in the gossip of what is going on with Dwight Howard. Now, and it's not even just this particular situation. Sports media, period. Sports media, period, is mostly gossip. Outside of the sports analysis of, the X's and the O's and the breaking down of the plays, oftentimes we are inundated with stories of who's getting along with who's battling who for what job, who's planning to move to another location. Why can't these two teammates get along? All of that is gossip. It's gossip, and it's always been gossip. But dudes, for whatever reason, dress it up as though, no, it's just sports talk, it's locker room talk. Yeah, you got it. Nigga, y'all gossiping. As right now, Stephen A. Smith is gossiping about Dwight Howard. Now, the interesting thing about this particular story is that Dwight Howard could have possibly been outed as a bisexual man because of a sexual assault allegation made against him. And whether or not Dwight Howard is bisexual, whether or not Dwight Howard is gay, whether Dwight Howard is straight, ultimately is none of our fucking business unless Dwight Howard wants us to know whether or not he's gay, straight, or bisexual, pansexual, whatever. It's none of our fucking business. And yet, it's one of those situations where if this allegation is true, where Dwight Howard has been accused of sexual assault, where it does become public knowledge, where it does become, somewhat of everyone's business because it is in the courtroom and someone is, accusing him to the point of taking it to court and this, that, and the other, right? But ultimately, we're having this discussion about a basketball player, about his sexual escapades in his bedroom, or maybe not even sexual escapades, but we're having these discussions about him. And ultimately, the only thing I really care to know about a Dwight Howard is, can this nigga rebound? Can he block a shot? Can he score on the block? Ultimately, what I really want to know about Brian McKnight, hey man, can he sing the song on key? Can he sing the old songs that I used to like? Can he sing the songs and not try to over sexualize them the way he did with the I can show you how your pussy work shit? That's not what we come to you for, Brian McKnight. Can you do that for us? Do we have to find out how many times Monique is calling her husband daddy? Do we really need to know why she's calling him daddy? That's not none of our business. We get it. You love that man. But we don't need to know that. At the end of the day, when it comes to all of these folks, I feel as though we know entirely too much about these people, and a lot of it we're learning when we're not even trying to learn it. If you're on the internet for any length of time, you're just gonna fucking oh shit, this is a thing that I didn't fucking know was a thing. It's none of my fucking business. I know way too much about way too many people that I don't know against my fucking will, man. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Let me take Stephen A. Smith. This nigga's eyes rolling back at his head and everything else as he describes that. But yeah, man, this is fucking crazy. Now, Dwight Howard himself has said, like, you know, he's come out on Instagram. I think he replied is like, yo, y'all shouldn't care what I'm doing in my bedroom, and I shouldn't care what y'all doing in y'all bedroom. That sort of thing. I agree with him wholeheartedly. I didn't want to know this about him. Didn't have to know this about him. Does it change the way that I think of him as a basketball player? Absolutely not. I don't care if you're gay or bisexual. I don't care, man. I don't care. I'm not uncomfortable talking about it. And, you know, you see how Stephen A. is, oh my God, I can't do this. Like he's performing and he's doing a lot. But ultimately, this is none of our fucking business. And too many times, man, like I think the thing that's going on with social media is like we are just inundated with information, oftentimes with like learning about folks in ways that we shouldn't really know about them. Right? So, yeah, man, that's all I got tonight. That's all I got. But I'm going to get on up out of here. But, of course, before I do, let me remind you guys how to get in touch with me here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespanreport.com. That's feedback@thespanreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails, and of course, those emails we get right here reply to here live as well. Follow me on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and or Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple of minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network especially, right? Also, go to our website, www.thespanreport.com. Leave us, well, you could go ahead, first of all, you can go there, you can watch replays of the show. You can donate to the show as often as you like, as much as you like. And, of course, we really do appreciate everybody who goes about the business of doing that. Also, go to iTunes and or, did I just say that? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Whew, that's how I know it's late. Go to YouTube. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, leave us those comments. Those comments will get read on our feedback the next time we come on live, because you didn't get it in time when we were doing the show. We'll do it live the next show, right? So go on YouTube, leave us those comments on YouTube and on Facebook, and I'll read those comments and reply to those comments on the next show, right? But it's time for me to get on up out of here. I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam, peace.